It's like and away we go, but sadly, I didn't get to see it, so we've got a bit of a recap here in the F1. I watched the highlights on YouTube. To be fair, right, they never do justice on F1 when you've only got like a 7 minute highlight package, but in some races cases, maybe it actually does you a favour, because this race looked like it sucked. And all I need to know is that Max Verstappen's fastest lap of the race is literally 1.7 seconds quicker than the rest of the next person, which I believe is Sergio. No, right, no, not Sergio. Leclerc's actually got the fastest lap next. That's a joke, man. Right? What is Sergio Perez's excuses for his fastest lap being 1.7 seconds off Max Verstappen? Do not get it. The race starts, right? Hulkenberg hits Stroll. You then have like Russell fighting his way through. He's doing quite well. Perez then overtakes everyone. You've got a Ferrari scrap, and you've got a bit of a beef between the RB drivers with Ricciardo and Tsunoda. Cool down lap. Max wins by 22 seconds. Is that it wrapped up for you folks? Max Verstappen is the 2024 World Champion. We called it in testing. We called it in our predictions video. We're not really here to talk about the Bahrain Grand Prix because there's a lot of news to talk about when it comes to Formula One. Of course, Alpine, a lot of their senior team personnel have resigned due to the absolute disaster that they produced. Logan Sargent, is there any reason why he finished so low down? Not too sure. You've got he made 3 stops, a wee bit more than the rest, but Bottas, man, few slow pit stops for him. Alpine look absolutely abysmal. But the grid just looks fucking dead. Aston Martin, expected so much more for them. Hamilton in P7, bit dead for him. Lando Norris, I mean, we predicted that it would be Red Bull, right? Then it would be Ferrari. Then it would be like Mercedes, McLaren, Aston Martin in that pack. But the way it's went, Red Bull are so far more clear than last season. Ferrari look like they're in a race of their own. Then you've got, alright, McLaren, Mercedes pretty close. But then Alonso is 18 seconds behind Oscar Piastri. Did not expect that. I expected Aston Martin to actually be quicker on race pace compared to quali pace. But just a bit of a dead weekend, and I'm not expecting Saudi Arabia to be any better, man. But with all the news coming out about last year's Saudi Arabian Grand Prix, is Mohammed bin Salim is under investigation for alleged attempt to interfere over an F1 race. Apparently, he had a big thing to say in Alonso's penalty getting overturned last season in Saudi Arabia, which I think was the correct decision. But like, if he's nudged the stewards, right, the FIA, in the right direction to get the correct decision, how is that alleged race if he's got it right, if he actually, like, if it was like, I don't even know, what way could he script it? If he phoned, Fred Vasseur at Ferrari, oh, Freddy boy, you got to tell Carlos to slow up Leclerc so you can get Max Verstappen a 5 second leader, man, off of the penalty. Unless he made like an executive decision, right? Except I could maybe see that, like actually forcing a team to do something, but all he's did is direct the FIA to make the correct decision, which, if you remember last year, Alonso got a penalty despite the fact that it was wrong, and they gave it after the race, and Aston Martin went into the rule book and managed to get it overturned because you're not allowed to do it after the race. I can't really remember clearly, right? But I don't really understand why the president's under investigation. But finally, to sum up this like weekend recap thing, Jos Verstappen says that the controversy is actually driving the team apart. Red Bull, that is, of course. He wants not Max Verstappen. He kind of wants Verstappen to leave as well. He wants Horner to leave. Everyone's saying that Jos Verstappen wants the team principal role at Red Bull. What's to say if Horner does get booted out of Red Bull that Jos Verstappen's going to get that role? Yeah, his son's like at the peak of his powers, man. He's dominating. He could win like the next 20 world titles if he wanted. But does Verstappen really get the final say about who's the team principal? I don't like Jos Verstappen. He's a bit of a dickhead. He's a wife beater. They made Verstappen walk like 15 miles home when he finished second in a kart race. That doesn't really sound like the greatest guy of all time. And that's a guy that was pishing F1, driving Arrows and Minardi. And this guy thinks he's got the cojones to lay the smackdown like that and take over the currently best team in F1. He's living in his son's shadow. That's exactly what Jos Verstappen's doing. He's an absolute fud, man. I don't like the guy. I mean, did he produce one of the greats in Max? But does that make him fantastic? No, it doesn't, man. Just because you related to them doesn't make you great. Look at Mick Schumacher. Look at Ralph. I mean, I think Ralph was a good driver, but he's not quite Michael, folks. But that's it. your Bahrain recap. We've crammed everything in there. We'll be back very soon. Of course, practice is on Thursday, but I'm sure there'll be a bit more fallout until then. Peace.